I have so many things I want to ask you, but my
Okay.
wife says I have to start with the ice cream truck.
Oh, right. Yeah. Okay.
I don't know why I'm supposed to start with the ice cream truck. I don't know if there's been a development in the ice cream truck, or does she want to know why you decided to get an ice cream truck? So let's just start with the beginning. Why an ice cream truck?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's something that I always wanted as a child. It's kind of was a potential career path early on in my life. And I always just loved the van, the truck. It was always so nostalgic for me. And yeah, it was literally my first, when I got my driving license in the UK when I was 18, it was the first thing I got. Was the full truck and everything, at the soft serve machine in it. And I learned to drive in it, and that was my kind of runaround for a long time. Not the most practical first car.
So what flavors did you have in there? And from what I understand, you gave them out?
Yeah, well, I did. I took it on the last day of when we wrapped Potter. I took it to the set, and I served ice cream with everyone, and it was great. I mean, I keep it stocked with kind of everything, really. It's really the soft serve that we call it in the UK. It's like a 99. Yeah, it's like in a cone with a flake, which is this kind of this.
Oh, I know about flakes. My
you do?
My dad was from the UK. His family's from the UK. I was actually born in the UK, but I didn't live there any length of time to develop any sort of anything that would be remotely associated with the UK. I just know of flakes because growing up, my grandmother would give me a Cadbury flake as part of our holiday celebration. So no, I love Cadbury flakes. You're speaking my language. Now most people would take most people will take their Potter money and buy a fancy car, etc. You're going buying the ice cream truck, but you know what? I respect that, because I think I might do the same thing if I was in your shoes. Just like I would respect somebody who is associated with such a huge franchise like Potter decide to go in a completely different direction and kill it once again with Mr. M. Night Shyamalan's series. How did you get involved with this, Servant? Let's start there.
Yeah, well, it was it's kind of going back now. It was 2018. We started these pages from a scene, and it was these two guys arguing about a doll. It was really intense, really intriguing. I had no other context apart from that. I knew obviously Night was involved, so in the back of your mind, you know there's kind of something more going on here, and it immediately kind of piqued my interest. And I did a tape. I spoke to Night about it, and when I got the scripts, it was it was fascinating. I got the scripts, and I'd really never read anything like it. It was such an interesting mix of dark humor and this just unbelievably bleak tragedy, and just really interesting to have these characters in one location, just in this house, kind of with all very kind of different journeys, and none of them particularly likable either. You don't really know who to root for, so I found it quite that's quite disarming, because you're so kind of programmed to kind of want to root for someone, and there really kind of wasn't much choice. So it was that dynamic really interested me. And I mean, I'm a huge fan of Night's as well. I've kind of watched all his movies, and I think he's just such a great storyteller. So it was I'm really enjoying it.
I want to get cool enough to be able to call him Night, because most people don't get to that point. You just like Night this, Night that. I go M. Night Shyamalan, but you just call him a Night. I mean,
my daughter started calling him Good Night. It's quite a confusing thing.
So you get presented this script, you see just a little bit of it. Most people, when presented a script, get at least some perspective, but Mr. Shyamalan's very protective of his product, so you don't know what you're getting yourself into, yet you take that leap of faith. Was that disconcerting at all? Because I mean, that takes a lot of guts to be like, yeah, I'm going to do this, but you don't know what's coming.
Yeah, for sure. At the beginning, it was definitely you just kind of, we had no idea where it was going. I mean, it's quite an unpredictable show anyway, because I think each episode is quite short. Kind of quite a lot happens in that time, because we don't have enough time to really kind of stretch everything out. So it's quite a fast pace process working on the show. And yeah, I mean, I quite like it. I've kind of grown to really enjoy that. It really keeps you kind of on your toes. You never really can kind of relax. You never know what's around the corner, and it's quite thrilling. But yeah, I mean, we're shooting the 4th season now, and we have no idea kind of how it's going to end. So it's kind of exciting, I find. And yeah, you're learning all the information in the same time as the characters, so it's actually quite helpful sometimes.
But how do you prepare to play a character like this? Because your character and you seem to be completely two polar opposites of the spectrum, in my opinion. Yeah. I mean, that's sort of the understatement of the century. And mix in the fact that you got a secretive process where you're learning bits and pieces as you go, that has to make things complex, being that you are so different from your character and you're getting the pieces of the pie as the story goes on. That's got to be challenging.
Oh, for sure it is. It's a real kind of exercise in, I don't know, I mean, it's something that I think we've all got kind of more comfortable with as we know our characters more. We've been doing this for like nearly 5 years, so I think, and we all have this kind of unspoken kind of language. When we're all together, we can kind of connect in a way. There's such a rhythm to everything, so we know each other so well. That really helps. And because I mean, most of the time it is just the 4 of us. Other kind of, we had some great kind of cameos come into the house and kind of shake everything up, but predominantly it's the 4 of us. So that kind of connection is really important, and that definitely makes it easier. But yeah, I mean, it is a challenge. It's a very unusual process, but I think also that helps if you film chronologically. So because we're always in the same place, we don't have locations and stuff all the time. So it's really interesting to work chronologically, and you can really track your journey quite easily. So that helps. But yeah, it's definitely a very unique show.
Do you keep notes or mental notes or notes on your phone or at a log book or a notebook of like choices you've made in the past that inform your present day decisions as your character? Or do you just go with that particular moment when you're filming a particular scene?
Yeah, I mean, I think I definitely keep kind of mental. You kind of have to keep kind of track of, and also with this, it's going in so many different directions, and never quite committing to the kind of, it treads the line between kind of supernatural, and every supernatural thing happens, there's always kind of a rational explanation. So you never quite know what it is. So yeah, keeping track of stuff like that for sure. I mean, yeah, the early kind of first few seasons, it was, you wanted all this information so you could kind of use it in the future. But now I think it's better just to go with the flow and find it with the character.
Why is that?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, it's just a very, I mean, as I say as well, it's such a fast paced thing. We shoot each episode in like 7 days for each episode. So everything's moving so quick. I think to keep track of everything would just be, and also there's so many kind of loose ends. And I think with Julian as well, because he doesn't quite live in the house, there's also a lot of kind of subtext that I've had to fill in about kind of his job, where he works, what he's come from, because we don't really know a lot about him or kind of where he lives. So yeah, I mean, all that is useful. That's something I kind of tap into a lot. But yeah, in terms of a show like this, where it's kind of twisting and turning kind of every episode, it's easier to be a lot more kind of just open in the moment.
But will we learn more about Julian in this new season? Will we get some insight? I have no hope that you're going to answer that question in any way, shape, or form. But I have to ask it. Will we find out more?
For sure, yeah. I mean, I think with all these characters, the kind of, and as we're approaching the kind of the conclusion, kind of things are peeling back, and we're learning more, and we're seeing. And I think as the show's gone on, you're kind of seeing these characters as more kind of real people that are like just stuck in this terrible thing, and they're actually all kind of, there's a vulnerability to all of them. Even Julian, who's on the face of it, is quite a hard character. There's a lot of kind of guilt and love as well. The show's kind of, everything they do is for the love of Dorothy. So yeah, we're learning more, but and also in this season, I found that things are happening that are kind of irreversible. Like you really kind of get the sense we're kind of approaching the end, and there's no kind of going back now. There's no way of kind of getting out of it. So it's quite exciting.
The only irreversible thing I can think of from an M. Night Shyamalan perspective, because we are dealing with the supernatural, is death. Did you just foreshadow a death possibly happening in the near future?
No, I'm not saying anything. No, I mean, I don't know. I know kind of we're given.
Oh, you know.
I have no idea.
Stop it.
I think we have like 7 episodes at the moment. Beyond that, we don't know. So I mean, that's the fun as well of the show. The theories, hearing people's theories. I've heard everything, which is it's kind of I enjoy that. It gets people talking, and it's fun.
Just tell me Julian's death is horrific.
Well, I don't know. I honestly don't know. I imagine it will. I imagine if that is the case.
You don't imagine they'll just let Julian die of natural causes on the show, that it's just going to be some massive scene.
I don't know.
You're going to get impaled in some way, shape, or form.
You just never know. I mean, it could be anything with Night. I wouldn't be surprised.
I mean, if you're going to die in an M. Night Shyamalan project, you're going to want it to be legendary, of course.
Oh, completely. You want yeah. I mean, he doesn't ever really do gore. Gore isn't something you associate him with, but I quite like a gory death if I do end up dying.
Blink twice if you die.